member of the executive board of UniCredit, HypoVereinsbank, and responsible for clients' solutions. So, first of all, perhaps you have seen him in the documentary in the German television. I may ask him whether I can call him a biohacker or a longevity hacker. Chris.
Longevity hacker is preferred. There's an Amazon Prime Video documentary that just came out a few weeks ago that I was in, and it's called Longevity Hackers, so I prefer that.
How old would you like to get?
Great question. So the longest lived human was a French lady named Jeanne Calment, and she lived to the ripe old age of 122 and a half. So ideally, I can surpass that, but do so in good health. So physically capable, cognitively capable, that would be ideal.
Great. And you managed to slow down your biological age by 37%, or is it now more?
So let me qualify that number. So what does that mean to slow down your biological age? Well, we're trying to understand how we can measure the biological aging process, and there's a number of different biological age tests out there that look at different variables, let's say. And the most accurate way to do it right now is by looking at the epigenome. And within even the epigenetic category of biological age clocks, there's different qualities of them. Let's just say the newer generations are more accurate than the older generations. So that percentage number is based on the average of more than 6 epigenetic clocks, a metabolomic clock that has about 650 different biomarkers in it, physiological tests like VO2 max and so on, because no single test is perfect, so I averaged it, and to that point, my telomere age is that of a 10-year-old, but I don't think I look 10. Sometimes I act like a 10-year-old, but that's the exception.
Marco, when will you start to slow down your aging?
Well, I hope it's not too late. So
it's never too late.
Well, no, you're right. But actually, you know, I'm a banker. When I was invited to discuss about this topic, one of the first things I did, I mean, I'm a number person, so I started to look into very basic numbers, much more simple than Chris. So what I did, I was like, life expectations in Germany, let's say 79, I'm 54, that makes 25 years, but I'm Italian, so I gained 2 more years. And at the end of the day, it looks like, you know, I have more or less 27 years or 27 summers to go to the beach. And then I saw your presentation, and you said, well, you know, on average, you will be 10 years not in a very good health, so that makes it 17. And then I made a fatal mistake, which was when I was in New York last week. I was texting Chris. I thought, okay, maybe you are there, so we can have a longevity drink. But he was not there. So to prepare myself for this conference, I downloaded his application, the new one, where you can actually calculate your biological age. Well, unfortunately, I think it's very accurate. So by answering the questions of the application, based on AI technology, I'm afraid I'm 65. So maybe it's the lifestyle here. So I think we really need to talk after this, yes, because
we'll spend time together. We'll reduce that age.
But please tell us this new clock. You put it on your Novos app.
Yes.
For everybody. It's free, and it's a questionnaire-based clock. You have to explain that because you can use it as well.
Yes, so I founded Novos as a public benefit corporation because I wanted to do more for the public interest than just focus on profiting as a business. And so as part of that commitment, we launched the Novos Life app, which is free for iOS and Android. We included in that app what's called the Enable Age Clock. It was created by a brilliant researcher. Her name is Dr. Soo-In Lee. She won the Samsung Hoam Prize in Korea. It's considered the Nobel Prize of Engineering and Mathematics in Korea. She's the first female to ever win that engineering prize. And it uses what's known as XAI, or explainable AI. It is more accurate than first generation epigenetic blood-based tests. It's not quite as accurate as the blood-based tests that we sell, but it's more accurate than the first generation. So with just about 20 questions, it leverages data from the UK Biobank and the NHANES data set in the United States, and it's able to essentially estimate how old you are biologically based on a number of different lifestyle factors.
So you're democratizing the longevity movement.
Exactly.
So you will, I guess, slow down your aging process if you are able to discover some business models in a society with people who are living longer in a healthy way by longevity programs. Do you have an idea for such a business?
Well, in that case, there is hope because, yes, we do have a lot of ideas. And as a bank, we like to be somehow front runners on some of the trends that are quite crucial for the future. We have done it in the past. And for example, we have a very important and successful tech team in Berlin, and now it's working for the whole Germany. And so we were somehow anticipating what at that time was something to come up. It has been discussed at length here. We took some company like Delivery Heroes from a very early stage to the IPO, and by starting so early, we are now like 75%. We work with 75% of the top 200 venture capital funded company in Germany. The same goes for ESG. So we don't take a traditional look at the business in banking, but we try really to be forward-looking.
Great. Could you support him with an idea for a nice business model?
Yes, maybe a longevity bank. So you focus on compounding interest, and I'll focus on compounding years. And in the end, if you give low yield...
But then we need to switch, yes?
Sure.
And there is an interesting model in Singapore. People over there are getting older and older. And we have this really worrying fact that our life expectancy is going down here. But in Singapore, this program says anybody has to set up his own private fund for later healthcare in old age. It's called MediSave. What are you thinking about that? Building up a fund, you have to, for everybody.
Well, that's actually a very interesting idea, and these type of concepts are not new. I mean, we were in the past looking at build up your funds for your school, for the kids, for example, yes? But again, back to the bank, we have, we look into longevity as a concept and the impact that this will have to the clients, but also to companies. And we partnered with experts and especially with the UK Technical Institute for Aging. We made a research, a very interesting research that is taking into account not only social demographic aspects, but many others like technology, and real estate, lifestyle, and obviously finance. And we came up with something which is called the Longevity Index, which will be presented sometimes in the spring this year. And it's a synthetic measure we do for all the countries. Why this is important? Because it gives a sense, we're present in many countries, how that measure it's somehow relevant according to geographies. So we will present this in May, but I can give you a little spoiler. For Germany, Germany is actually placed in a very good ranking, so below the Nordic countries, but better than many European countries, including Italy. There are a lot of pluses there. One is the attention to technology and accessibility, diversity, attention to renewable energy. There are also some minuses, so things that needs to be taken care of. I remember 3. One is the increased use of tobacco, which is not a good thing. I have learned by doing some research to get prepared that Germany is the second highest consumer of sugar in the world, apparently. That's also not probably a good indicator, Chris. And definitely we have to work on mobility and accessibility in that sense. But in general, the outcome for Germany is quite positive.
let's have a quick look to the US. The designated Secretary of Health, Kennedy, do you think that he could give more speed into the investments in the longevity field?
Yes, definitely. So actually, it's a very timely question. So the Wall Street Journal published an article yesterday talking specifically about Robert Kennedy and longevity. And a number of the people that are being appointed are actually pro-longevity. Like, for example, Robert Kennedy's deputy was the CEO of this research organization known as SENS, which, if anyone follows longevity, that's Aubrey de Grey's organization. It's one of the leaders in longevity. In fact, it inspired me more than a decade ago when I started to get into longevity. So there's a number of people who are going to take positions, as well as in the FDA, that are pro-longevity. They see the potential behind this, of the preventive nature of it. And I think that there's a lot of potential. At the same time, I'm going to be advocating for a third category within the field of substances. So if you think right now we've got pharmaceutical drugs and then we've got supplements, I believe there should be a third category, which is where my company Novos fits, which is more research-based and proven natural compounds. So as a supplement, you can't make any sort of medical claim. You can only make structure function claims, which means you can only say that this ingredient helps to maintain healthy function, and it has to be based on research. But you can't say anything like this ingredient might prevent some sort of illness. But if you look at something as simple as vitamin D is found to prevent immunosuppression, Alzheimer's disease, and so on. Cancer, et cetera, yeah. So ideally, we still have phased trials like the FDA currently requires for pharmaceutical drugs, but you don't necessarily have to emphasize the safety nearly as much as a brand new novel molecule when you're using natural ingredients that have been used for decades or even millennia sometimes. Instead, if you can just focus on the impact it has on somebody with a health condition, and that can drive the cost down a lot for the trials compared to a pharmaceutical drug, then we can have this new category, and that will enable medical doctors to start to prescribe natural substances, which I think most of us prefer to take something natural on a preventative basis than something after it's too late on a pharmaceutical level.
Science-based. We have to talk about the philosophy of your Novos company. We have 6 minutes we have. This question is very important. I have to ask you. Health insurers, also life insurers, also lenders, they could connect their work with their clients to the health of their clients. You can now measure the health very well. What are you thinking about these models?
Well, I mean, there is a very important development in that sense. We have seen it also on your slides, the way that we do measure and we distinguish between the biological age and the age you have on your passport, no? So, and this has to have a consequence on the way the world is run, and it's not only when it comes to the technology, the accessibility, but also it has an impact on banking. So we do have to have our own part on this very important game for the future. I was mentioning about the longevity index. We are having an important conference in Milan in May regarding longevity. So we have created for ourselves, for UniCredit, an important point or moment of reflection. We have engaged with different experts coming from different fields, and we will not only present the results of this longevity index by geography, but we will also disclose an approach which we like to design in a way looking at 3 different pillars that goes in the direction you're mentioning. So one is protect, the second one is invest, and the third one is enjoy. As you can infer from those 3 pillars, we're going to look into which kind of solutions a bank can design for future for people that will be living longer, healthier, in the area of insurance, in the area of finance, so investments, so that when the time comes that you've been working a lot and taking care of yourself, not only you can live longer, but you can enjoy your life by taking the fruits of how you were planning this from a very early stage. And I think one of the key elements here, it's about education and starting very early. And I'm really glad. I mean, I was flying back from New York last Sunday, and I was actually watching that documentary where you were in. That's actually quite shocking, no? Because it's really intense. If that's the first thing you do when you watch when you approach this topic. But I have to say, the more I get into this, and the more you realize that we all play a very important role on it, including UniCredit.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your Novos Score. Oh, it's Core, not Score. Novos Core is a product, and you can explain to us the philosophy of your company, which is addressing the 12 hallmarks of aging. One product addressing the 12 hallmarks of aging you saw in my presentation. Nowadays, we are researching on one field with millions of dollars, and we are not successful. And you are targeting all 12 with one product. Please explain to us how you are working. And there are countless producers of nutritional supplements. What's the difference, your point of sale?
Sure. So I came across a scientific paper about a decade ago called The Hallmarks of Aging that Nina is referring to. And it basically broke down aging into these mechanisms. And I was inspired by that. I came to realize that aging isn't some immutable force that's programmed into us necessarily, unless you believe purely in the epigenetic theory of aging. But it's something that is multiple factors kind of conspiring against us and causing the degradation of our cells and, by extension, tissues, organs, and our whole body. And this opened my mind up to the idea of being able to impact our aging, to slow down the actual process. So I started to network with scientists in the field and went to Harvard Medical School, MIT, and so on. And I asked the question, why is everybody specializing in one single mechanism, whether it be biotech or academia? And essentially the answer is that science by its very nature is very reductionistic. You want to master, fully understand a single area, keep it simple so you can fully understand it. And that's great. And so on the biotech side, if we can master the epigenetic side of aging, like Dr. David Sinclair is trying to do at Harvard, with Yamanaka factors, as they're called, to reprogram a cell to be younger again, that can be enormous, the implications of it. But all of this is too far into the future. I was thinking, what can I do for myself now and give to my loved ones, my friends, my community? And the answer was nobody in the natural products world had any idea of this research. And so I asked these same scientists, what do you think about addressing all 12 hallmarks of aging simultaneously? And there was unanimous agreement that this would probably be the best way to be able to impact the aging process with natural products at this time. So we went ahead and did that. We co-formulated with these world-renowned scientists, again from Harvard, MIT, Salk Institute, and so on. And we created the first formula to address all 12 hallmarks. We've done a number of scientific studies to show that we are having a significant impact on things like cellular senescence, cellular inflammation, genetic abnormalities or DNA damage, and so on. And we just recently completed a mouse study where we found we extended aged mouse lifespan more than any supplement ever studied in the world. In fact, we outperformed a lot of these R&D hardcore medical interventions like genetic modifications, all from these natural supplements. And perhaps most importantly, we did a case study with people, and after taking Novos Core and Novos Boost for 6 months, we were able to show that we reduced their rate of aging by the equivalent of 1 month per year on average. And this is for 3/4 of the participants. And for the remaining quarter, they didn't decelerate, but they also didn't accelerate. And you would have expected some people would have had faster aging during that period, but nobody did. So now we're moving on to a clinical trial at University of Surrey in the United Kingdom to prove that out on a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled basis.
So we have here 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Last question, are you inspired by him for your lifestyle?
I am completely inspired by him. As a matter of fact, I think, Chris, people like you are actually a treasure for people like us. I mean, because we live in a world where we believe it's all about the work we do, and sometimes we forget that with the work you do, it's an enabler for us for being happier and be able to do what we do. And what I really like is the way you explain things, and I think for younger generations, I mean, I have two boys, they're 20 years old, they are a much better version than me, and why? Because people like you are really providing us the hints for taking care of ourselves in a better way. Thank you, Chris.
So healthy longevity is the next big thing. Thank you very much, both people.
Thank you.